I am a Magi, protector of Egypt. My land is on the brink of collapse.
My name is Abubakar Salim, and I play Bayek of Siwa in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Just to go back a bit to talking about how this came about, you've worked on television shows like 24 and Black Mirror and recently Strike. Have you worked in animation or video games before? How did you get the part?
I've never worked in animation or video games ever before. This is my first game. And I actually, auditioning for this, it was advertised as an animated TV series, which needed motion capture. And, different characters, different time frame, different, it was very different. And did the first round, it was great. Then got to the second round, and that's when they dropped the bomb that it was Assassin's Creed. And yes, I died a little inside, but it was a beautiful death. Came back to life and did the best I could. And so then, it was an interesting process because it was very different to normal other auditions. The camera was positioned in a way in which it captured the whole room, so they needed to see your body and see how you'd move and how how the character would move. And I had the animation director there as well as a cinematography director there. And they direct me differently and depending on what they wanted to try and bring out of the character. And so it was really exciting. It was an interesting way of auditioning.
So how was the process of doing it? You talked there about seeing how the character would move and how the character would fit in the space. Obviously in the past it used to just be voice recording, whereas now you've got the motion capture, you've got a camera on your face. How hard does that make it? Do you have to be very aware of how you're moving and how you're expressing things as you speak?
I mean, I guess... with acting anyway, you kind of have you're thinking a bit about how you are moving and how you're speaking and different, But at the end of the day, you're still you've got this kind of objective, and you've got to try and you've got to follow that through. So you're not really thinking much about it. What was interesting though was because we had the animation director in the room. Certain things like, either touching someone or hugging someone, you had to do, in a specific way because otherwise the animators would have difficulty, editing that. And you do have to think of, okay, I'm not necessarily going to stab you. I'm going to stab the air. You have to react, and then that's the way the way movement sort of worked in those rooms. It wasn't necessarily as clear as doing small movements. You still had to do big movements so it could be captured. But also you didn't want to do too grand movements, otherwise it would look ridiculous. So, yeah.
So how long did the process take?
Oh, man, I'm still, it's, ages. I've been working on it for now nearly a year. So, so it's, because there is so much content and there's so much to record, and constantly new things are being added into the game. The process never stops. So it's now I've been working on it for now 10 months. So back and forth from Montreal doing the motion capture and VO stuff, which has been, it's been great fun all the time, but it's been a very long process. Very different to film and TV, where it's after 3 months or 4 months on TV, that's it. Then you do the ADR, then you wait for it to come out. No, I think with this anyway, it's constantly evolving and constantly adapting, which is great.
You mentioned earlier that you'd played some of the previous Assassin's Creed games, and obviously people have got their favourite assassins, but they've all kind of gone on quite a journey through the stories, like Altair going from a reckless character to being sort of more thoughtful, like an old man looking for meaning and answers, and Ezio going from being sort of a
playboy,
to being this big leader of men. Does Bayek go on a similar journey?
I think Bayek's journey is really, it's very internal. I think that's what's so interesting about this game anyway, is that his journey is, it is again the origins of the Brotherhood. But there is a journey, and from what I've done and from what I've read, it's not as big as Ezio. He doesn't make as big of a change as Ezio, or even like Connor. It's a personal journey, and I think that's what's quite exciting about this game, is that they've gone a completely different way of portraying these characters, portraying the world. Ubisoft have taken risks, and beautiful risks. And it's going to be great to see the finished product.
So obviously nobody knows how people in 49 BCE spoke in terms of like accents and dialects and stuff. How did you and the team settle on how Bayek should speak?
Oh, well, we had so that's a good question. It was very much a creative process. So, we had a dialect coach in there. We've got we had a historian there. But what was great was, because there was nothing that we could go back to look at, it gave us a lot of room to play and create. So we ended up, we tried, especially with dialect, to try and get, Egyptian words in there as much as we could, to kind of keep in with that immersion. When it came to even deciding on accents, we worked a lot with an accent coach, and coming to certain decisions on saying certain things. So, for example, Bayek doesn't roll his R's, whereas some Nubians might roll their R's, or even the Greeks would roll their R's. So these sort of rules were kind of set in stone, and then we'd kind of, we would be creating this accent, this world within it as we went on, which was great fun to do, really great fun to do. So yeah.
When you were doing the motion capture, were you working with the other actors in the game, like Aya, the woman who plays Aya, and?
Yeah. So Aya's played by Alex Wilton Regan, and she is a force to be reckoned with. Incredible woman. Yeah. So a lot of my scenes took place with her. It also took place with Zora Bishop, who plays Cleopatra. And it was great fun working with them and working with all the other actors as well on the mocap floor. Because again, there was someone to play off. I mean, normally, I'm sure voiceovers, normally you're in a booth and you record and the other person's recorded the dialogue before, so you don't really have that connection. Whereas on the actual floor, you've got this, you've got this space to create and play, and it's so much fun, so much fun. And I mean, Alex, I was a fan of Alex before I even, started playing Assassin's Creed. She's done so many video games. So it was pretty crazy to think, oh my God, she's playing my wife. Like, it's insane, but yeah.
It must be pretty tough to do anything romantic scene-wise with the big camera.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun with the camera there doing kissing, and I don't know how the facial animators are coping with seeing my kissing face. I'm sure they're having a lot of fun and laughing at me behind my back about it. But no, it is quite hard to do intimate scenes, especially with the Velcro as well moving. If you hug someone, you might get stuck to them and you have to kind of pull yourself off. So you've got to be aware of all these different things. But again, it's all part of the joy of making a video game. It's all part of that fun process of being silly. That's what it is. It's just playing.
Do you feel that you'd like to continue doing stuff with video games and voice work?
Oh man, yeah. It's such an interesting way of telling a story. It's so, this way of interactively, communicating these journeys that these people are going through. It's so powerful that I'd love to continue being a part of that, because it's so different to film and TV. You're giving it an hour or so or two, or even sometimes if it's a series, 8-12 hours to the viewer. Whereas with games, you're giving hundreds of hours, and you're going, and there is these worlds in which they're exploring and creating, that they're viewing and experiencing, and it's so rich. It's such a rich way of storytelling.
People are actually playing you rather than watching you, so they're going to get really attached.
Exactly. Yeah, they are participating in that, in that journey that the character is going through. They're going to connect to certain things, react to certain things, with this character, and it's a beautiful experience.
Are you the kind of actor who can't watch stuff that they're in? Or are you going to actually play this game?
Oh man, as I've said, I'm going to be out there queuing up, the day before, waiting for that launch and playing that game to death. I'm not going to lock myself in a room and play it. I cannot wait. I'm sure I'm going to cringe at some moments and think, oh, why did I say it that way? But at the same time, I'm so excited for it. Yeah.
Are Magi no longer. We shall be known as assassins.